We are live. All right, guys. So,
brand.
what we say?
It's part of a motherfucking brand.
I think that was soft enough. I don't think you're gonna hear that. Cool, guys. So today we're talking about CMAs. We're gonna help you guys be able to do comparative market analysis for your clients. First of all, how many people have done one of these, let's say, in the last 5 days? A CMA. Severo has. Awesome. That's great. Anybody else?
Me.
Benji, yeah, you have? Awesome. Cool. So there's two different ways of going about it. The first thing is when we say CMA, we have to be careful not to say that to clients. And the reason is because the rule of thumb is you never want to use jargon. You know, you don't want to say something that kind of is off-putting or makes it sound like, you know, when some people know some stuff about some things and you feel like they're just like dropping information to like sound really smart. That's what happens when you start using acronyms that you shouldn't be using inside of real estate. So try and avoid the actual phrase CMA. Try and use comparative market analysis, because obviously when you say that slowly, they're going to clue in exactly what that is very, very quickly. So what is it? It's pretty self-explanatory. Comparative. So what does that mean? We're looking at comps. We're looking at comparable properties. So now that it's a super hot market, you can do it a lot more like how the banks do it. So how banks do it is they look at 3 months and they're looking at comps in area. Now, if this was a little bit slower of a market, 3 months would probably not be enough. You'd probably need 6, 7 months sometimes. But because the market is so hot, you may not have the sales, but a 6-month-old comparable is probably no longer comparable. You understand what I'm saying? Because if we know that the average is going up by about 12% per year, that means in 6 months, what you can guess it's around 5 or 6% increase. But you know, hopefully we don't have to get to that point where we're adjusting like that. So there's two different ways of going about it, and I like to divide it. I'm trying to do this as basic as possible. There's definitely going to be some things that we're going to go over today. Some things that we're not going to go over today that will have to be used in special case scenarios. But what I'm going to go over today is going to be great for 95% of your CMAs, I would say. The other 5%, that's when you come see me, we sit down, we workshop it, and we really, really figure it out. But most of the time, what I'm going to show you today is going to work. So there's two different ways of going about it. The first way is house. Second one's condo. Okay? So obviously there's differences in how we do the comparative market analysis. And the most important thing is that there's wildly different variables when we're looking at houses versus when we're looking at condos. So really for the condo section, we're looking at dollar per square foot at the end of the day. That's what we're looking. And then we're going to go over some things that might create some variances between those things. With the house, man, there's so many things we're looking at. So many things. I mean, if we're going to go like the base, we're looking at model and size. Because different models in, let's say, Kirkland or Point Claire or whatever, they're going to be wildly different in size. You know, a meteor split's bigger than a McGill split. You know, you can't compare a bungalow to a 2-story home, or you can sometimes if it's anyway, at the end of the day, it's living square. It's still kind of the idea of living area square feet, but with a house, there's a lot more other variables. So I think we should start with condo because I think it's way easier to do a CMA for a condo. So what are some other variables aside from just, hey, how many square foot is your condo? What other questions are we asking? What other things can influence the price? Yes, sir.
Potentially parking spot.
Absolutely, my friend. Absolutely. Great answer.
Sorry, I meant to say that confidently. A parking spot.
Absolutely. There you go. Good job. Speaking with confidence. Absolutely. So parking spot. And it's good that you know, and this is actually something that they teach you in school a little bit as well, is you find out what that's worth. So you hope, believe you have the information. Sometimes you don't. Sometimes you do have to just make an educated guess, right? But sometimes you can go in history of let's say it's the same building. You find a unit that's 800 square feet, find another unit that's 800 square feet. One has a garage, one doesn't have a garage. What is the difference in sale price? And now you know what a garage is worth. Sometimes you have to make an educated guess. If it's downtown, you know, that garage spot might be worth 80 grand, it might be worth $100,000. It's crazy. So imagine when I bought Tour de Canadien 2, parking spot was worth $60,000. That was a long time ago.
Yeah.
That was a long ass time ago. So now it's worth tremendously more.
My friend lives on Seigneur, like near downtown.
Yes.
And it's an extra 100,000 in her condo to have a parking spot.
Bam, 100 grand. So you know in that area, in that little cluster of buildings.
Yeah, there's like
That's
10
what it's
condos like on that street alone, and
Yep.
it's like insane. When she told me that, I was like shocked. Like,
yeah.
wow.
I'm not, I wish I was surprised. I'm not.
Mhm.
Yeah, and you can rent them out exactly, and there's certain value to that too. So yeah, definitely parking spot that plays a huge role. Now, of course, the value of a parking spot in the West Island versus downtown is going to be very different, you know, because they're much more scarce downtown than here. You know, they have buildings. Sometimes, depending on the street, you might find it a little bit harder to find a place with a parking spot in the West Island, but in general, the value of a parking spot in the West Island is significantly less than downtown.
Yeah, because in the West Island, you just park on the street.
Yep.
Anywhere.
Absolutely. What else plays for a condo?
Storage.
Storage, sure, absolutely. I mean, listen, 99.9% of them have it, but if in case you don't have it, or if one spot you have maybe double, or you know your specific unit, you have 3 storage units because you convinced the builder to sell you 3. Absolutely, that can definitely play. So
Number of bedrooms?
yeah, I mean that'll play with the overall size.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes they need specific divisions, but at the end of the day, it plays much more to do with size.
Does floor number, like say you're on the first floor,
Yes.
try to compare with it? Because that's
Yes.
what we drink our condo. You
Absolutely.
can't do this,
Yep,
this,
absolutely. So level, for sure, dude. Absolutely.
Only when there's an elevator.
Yes, thank you. Very, very, very important distinction to make. So what's really interesting is when you look at buildings, let's say you go out into Pancor or places that they're not allowed to build skyscrapers, right? So something like that, when there's only 3 levels, why would you pay more for the 3rd level? Oh, it's a penthouse, there's a balcony, big friggin' deal. I'm running a marathon with the groceries every time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're going up 3 flights of stairs to bring shit into your condo? That's not necessarily a good thing. But yes, if it has an elevator, then the higher up you go, the more valuable it is. So I've seen in buildings in the West Island that every single floor with an elevator can be worth up to $2,000 extra per floor you go up. I've seen downtown it go maybe $7,000 or $8,000 per floor. It really depends, and this is again what you can do to kind of create that comparative analysis. You try and find the same unit 10 floors above. Let's say you're talking about a skyscraper downtown. You find the same unit 10 floors above that's the same unit on the 2nd floor. It's a newer building. They're both finished the same way. What's the price difference? That's the difference for the floor. So that's how you create that comparative situation. Yes, sir. Sorry? Absolutely. Yes, for sure. Yeah. So example being, you've got a condo right on the water. Okay? Condos like this, water's here. Obviously, this side of the building is going to be worth more than this side, right? Because this side's looking at a freaking highway or a busy street. This side's looking right over the water. So definitely view place. Absolutely. What else?
Condo fees.
Yes, condo fees for sure. Yeah. Did you both say it? Is that
No,
why?
I said amenities. Oh.
Yeah, amenities and condo fees for sure. And it's great that we said both of those because they usually go hand in hand.
Yeah, that's what you're paying for. The maintenance for that, right?
Yeah. And the condo fees nowadays, man, are crazy. It's crazy what they're charging for these things now. So this is kind of like a situation where you need to find out what it is that the potential buyer might want, and then just price it in. But you have to price it in smart, because at the end of the day, it's kind of like when a person has a house and has a pool. Okay, it's all well and good. They love their pool. They use their pool. But a smart buyer goes in and says, "I don't want this. I don't want this pool. Why'd they put a pool? This is my part-time job for the summer now. Great, fantastic." Meanwhile, in their head, they're like, "Sweet, a pool," you know. But especially when it's a condo situation where you're paying for it, you know, it's rare to see a condo with a pool, whether the pool's on the roof or on the main level inside or something like that, that you're not paying 500 plus easily in condo fees. Sometimes much more, because of course you're paying for the condo fees based on the square footage of your private portion, but you're also paying for, like Susan or like Madison had said, the maintenance for those amenities. So things like pool, sauna, gym, all of those amenities, although they're great, they all cost money. So kind of, making that distinction as well. Anything else that we're missing?
I don't know if it would count in the square footage, but the size of the balcony.
Yeah, absolutely. Just the fact that they have a balcony or the size of the balcony, for sure. Yeah. I'm running out of room. I love it. What else? We forget anything?
I mean, I guess like if you get down to specifics, like what's included, like if it comes with all the appliances, if it comes with stuff, is that something that you would look?
Yeah, I think if we're doing this CMA for somebody that we're planning on selling their condo, I have a very specific strategy myself where I don't like to give shit away for free. So I'll tell them we're not including anything. If they want it, they can ask for it.
Yeah.
Because my father's told me since I started in this business, it doesn't matter if you're selling a $400,000 condo, an $800,000 condo, or a $5 million house. The negotiations always come down to $5,000. Always. And it's been, I know this to be true. So at the end of the day, if you can withhold something that you can use later as a bargaining chip or a little trump card at the end, it's very, very smart. It's worked out very, very well for me in the past. So yeah, absolutely. I mean, what's included for sure. Anything else that we're missing here?
The renovations done.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, renovations for sure. Yeah, especially with a lot of the condos, let's say on Sources or Saint Jean, those types of condos that they're built in, you know, the late 90s or whatever, or even the early 2000s. Some of them just nothing's been done, and those are not going to command the same price that somebody who renovated it 2 years ago, for sure. You know, and then you kind of isolate, okay, what's that worth? So, great. That's awesome. And we'll go into specifics. We'll use some examples in a minute, but let's move on to house. So now imagine we're talking about two houses that are in the same area. So obviously location, location, location for sure. Let's pretend that the locations are the same for purposes of this. So what are some things that can make a massive difference in price between two houses in the same area?
The location.
Yeah,
Size of the lot.
for sure. Yeah, lot size. Absolutely. What else?
What about curb appeal?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Curb appeal is so important, man. And like, I just hate that I have to learn all these lessons of when I'm old. I wish I would have learned them when I was really young. You know, when I first started flipping properties, like I paid almost no attention to curb appeal. I'm like, well, they're going to give me the house. They're going to love the kitchen that I did. And it's like, no, dude, spend the $2,000, throw some really nice fresh grass down, put a beautiful garden, you know, put a nice gate or a beautiful like thing or whatever. And it makes a huge difference. Because oftentimes that's the first photo on Centris or Matrix, right? So having that beautiful curb appeal is what's going to draw them in the first place. So definitely, that'll make a huge difference. What else?
Finishes?
Yeah, renos, finishings, for sure. Absolutely. Now, what's really important here, and this is a very difficult conversation to have with a lot of sellers, is depending on the area, does it matter that one person got their hardwood from Payless Flooring on Brunswick and the other person imported the hardwood from, I don't know, someplace crazy, like Brazil. Yeah, they imported it specific. They chose the exact grain they wanted. But keep in mind, both these houses are in like Pierrefonds, for instance. Is there going to be a discrepancy in price between the two of them? If there is, it's going to be very small. And that, unfortunately, is a very difficult conversation to have because a lot of people are very proud of the choices that they've made. Another example is you go into a place, the kitchen is an IKEA white kitchen, and the countertop is a beautiful quartz countertop. And then you go to another place, it's in the same area. And of course, this is all predicated on these being average homes, right? If they're bazillion-dollar homes, it's very different, and these things do matter. But in an average area, in an average house, you know, you can be looking at an IKEA kitchen with a beautiful quartz countertop, and you go to another place, and it's all the cabinets are custom wood cabinets, and the quartz is imported. It's not quartz, it's granite, and it's like marble stone granite that's forged in the most beautiful blacksmith's thing out in Italy, and it was blessed by this person or whatever. It doesn't matter. People in that price range don't necessarily care. They just want it to look nice and that it functions.
Spoken like a true flipper.
Yeah.
Forged in the fucking who cares just by quartz.
Yeah, pretty much, man. Anyway, so. John, we're alive. No, but no, John's right. You know, it depends on the area. It depends on the area and depends on the quality of home, right? So if we're talking about two waterfront properties in Beaconsfield, yeah, that matters. You don't want the IKEA cabinetries and that kind of stuff because it does unfortunately not have the same fortitude and strength of something that's built custom and something that's built with real wood. You know what I'm saying? So you have to be careful that these renovations and finishings have certain caps depending on what area that they're in, right? So, what else? We've got model size, lot size, curb appeal, renos and finishings. What else? There's a big one that I want somebody to say.
Location?
Hey, come on, guys. There's a big one here that we're missing. Some houses have it, some houses don't.
Garage.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you very much. That's a big one.
Maybe the age of the house?
Yes, of course, absolutely. Age of the house, for sure. That's a great one too.
Basement?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, finished basement, for sure.
The roof, the windows.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we're gonna call that bones. The bones of the property. It won't make a huge difference, but the way I like to say it is that you don't want to sell a property where any of the bones are broken already. You know, nobody banked on a brand new heat pump. Nobody banked on a brand new roof, but they also didn't bank on needing to replace it right away. So you want to find, you know, hopefully in a beautiful situation to compare them is that, you know, everything's at half life, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
So the heat pumps got another 10 years on it. Windows were changed 15 years ago. Roof was done 7 or 8 years ago. That's great. You got half life on everything. You're all good. Now, if you're going to compare that to another property where the roof needs to be done right now, you gotta adjust that down, like let's say 7 or 8,000 or whatever. So all of those adjustments play. So now what we're going to do, now that we know how it is that we're comparing, I'm going to pull up a random property on Centris for you guys to do a CMA on. And I don't want you guys to share your information with the people next to you. I want you guys to come up with your own price, your suggested listing price. I'm going to pull this as a sold from a while ago, and then you're gonna tell me what you think it should list for today. Sound fair enough? So if you have a laptop, get a laptop. We're going to do it. Here we go. Man, this is slow. You know what? I'm going to do this on this computer. It'll be faster. Not much. Uh-oh.
You're so weird. That's what I'm looking for.
Hey, John, come log in for me, buddy? Oh, no, it can't.
Thank you, John.
Logan, I think you have to change it.
No, it was saying, it's saying invalid.
Everything's good?
So I could do,
Yeah? Okay, good. Okay. Oh, John, oh my goodness.
Oh, down that house, but I always go see a social distancing, because they're looking for a basement. Forget it. So you spread that sugar on there. They're looking for a garage. They just you're off. I think it's actually maybe.
Hey, we shook on it.
We
shook it, we would not.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, it's a weird layout too. Like you go inside, like you walk in, and you're like right.
I'm not falling apart.
I'm telling you,
I see what you're doing.
that sucks, dude.
I'm telling you, I see what you're doing.
We go there, the shingles are falling off.
I like it more now.
You should.
Yeah.
You got all problems. The shingles are falling off.
Yeah.
But they were replacing it.
Oh, they are. Oh, okay. My client can do that. He's handy.
Well, then he could save money finding a house with.
Oh,
With your roof.
everything is just flying.
No, that makes sense why it's like this.
No, no, basement.
It's like half of the bungalow, but there is.
Okay, because it's not just like use my thing.
No, it's a different code, so it's.
Two bedrooms and a basement is fine.
But nothing.
Okay, I think it's this,
There's
right?
no living space.
Yeah, and then we should send you, a number and then I guess an activation code or an activation link.
Like I got my username,
Not to waste
which is like right
I'm not
here.
wasting any time.
Is it just a
Go in
number?
there.
Yeah,
You see three other
and then we would with that number.
So now you're gonna
Three goes
go,
this
but it doesn't tell you there
Hey,
to,
we shook on it, but you know what? Some people's handshakes mean different things, so.
I should do with my left hand.
does it give you
Wait,
a bit
how?
of link?
So like the hyperlink.
Maybe set the password, and then after that, I'm gonna
this normal? Like this is
Yeah,
what
so you're
they're
gonna go into login.
member access, okay.
Wait, you
Oh,
must
there
send
we
you
go.
a temporary password, I'm assuming.
Use code, and now I need my password, but it's not there.
Oh, Alex says, not sure if people are aware, but the mic can pick up.
Pick up what?
It picks up everybody's individual conversations apparently.
Sweet.
So,
Just all shit out.
It's like the longest brick roll ever.
I know, for real.
Okay, yeah, just
Why
put
the
my
last
username
two ads?
and
Yeah, why do they have to fucking?
member access the menu, then enter your username and password.
The trolls get to watch the ads.
Is it the same maybe? The same as the
This guy's
okay, I don't have it, so whatever. We're gonna do, this one actually is gonna be fun. The address we're gonna use is 47 Hillside in Point Claire.
Are we allowed to?
I can't get into a matrix.
Hey, me neither, bud.
Because look,
Going down the log, dude.
I'm using your
47 on
Yeah, that's what I did.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm trying to do that.
So this is the only email I got. Yeah, like it's from the administration member.
And you click on that?
Yeah. And then I have like the username.
Do you have your own login?
So I just got it today, this morning, so everything's like official, but I'm just trying to figure it out.
Okay. Sounds like if you're gonna go, I'll let you do it, but if you need to use mine.
I'm gonna see, I think I'm like close. I don't know.
I know, I just forget everything.
The buyer asked us for the accepted offer.
850.
Okay.
So.
Okay, I forgot it. I forgot
Yeah,
it.
it's just stressing me out.
47 Hillside.
47 Hillside.
850. 850.
Just that easy, huh? You gotta show your work, bro. This is like a math. This is like math in high school, dude. I need to
You did take off 25 points.
Anyway, you should have said that because now everyone's gonna piggyback off your answer.
And then we'll all be wrong.
Oh, okay, there you go. Now that's what I like to hear. Low key switch watches.
Avenue Hillside, or Main Hillside.
Avenue. It's the only hillside in Point Claire.
Okay, got it.
Oh, the shower though.
Huh?
Yeah, you guys went crazy at that house.
It was a sick rental.
Yeah.
Oh, is this the one? Sarah, is this the one I smashed the wall in?
No, that was like.
She smashed a wall?
Yeah, I brought her to go smash some stuff in the basement.
Oh, sick.
Because my car was broke down and he's like, do you just want to go smash some shit?
That's awesome.
Yes,
I had to go smash some shit.
No, it's done already. Next one.
Okay.
Relax.
I was literally through a wall, like with the hammer. It's so cool.
So yeah, 47 Hillside, guys. It's a cottage in Point Claire. Technically Point Claire South. Things to note. I'll give you a couple little hints to remember. First thing is it's not on the highway, but it is close to it. So that should factor in a little bit. I'll let you know about that. Obviously, incredibly well renovated. Well landscaped, nice deck, finished basement, brand new bathrooms, all that fun stuff. No garage, right? So, very interested to see what you guys come up with.
And this watch hasn't been to the moon.
I was literally like, I'm gonna switch watches with John.
Is it okay?
Yeah, well, it's flutes because you've got a man's wrist and I've got a little girl's wrist. You get
this. You'll own another one too.
Yeah,
Monday or Tuesday.
a little bitch version.
No, I'll still wear that one.
That's nice. It'll be like I'll wear it while I like clean my pool and shit. You know?
In the summer, it's still a fun one.
Exactly. Totally a summer watch.
Gotta protect your ears, Connor.
Logan, how do I use the address to find the place?
Excellent question. So you go to search, single family.
Okay, that's what I
Just find an address.
Oh.
No?
This one model is my house.
John, go you want?
You see what I said? I should just put the characters.
But
It's also good.
You said.
Daddy cups.
It depends on the first one, so I don't know why we're putting up some good on this house. But I came close to keeping it. That's what you want. Just like when you find money, right? If you find like $100,000, you want to return it in the hopes that there's gonna be 50 grand, not just be like, oh, here's $100.
Yeah.
So that's what I want. I'm gonna give you the
What are the, wait,
Why am I unable to find it?
2 years ago.
2 years ago? Well, that's
Did you
just 2 years.
press sold
You've got 200,000.
on your, it's so-
Yeah. Classic, what's that?
oh, that's what you're.
Okay.
So what are some factors that you guys are finding right now that are influencing your decisions right now? John Severo, what are you noticing?
I just jumped in here.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah.
I haven't noticed anything, I just saw one.
No garage. Yeah, that's playing. Yeah.
Finished basement.
Finished basement. You finding other ones without finished basements that are selling for different prices?
Yeah.
You're good.
I know.
You're totally fine. Don't worry. I mean, that sounds exciting.
It is.
So that would be a good. That one sold? What's
I'm gonna give you guys another 6 minutes.
I need a bit more time than that. I can't even find this property. I don't even know.
Go to search, single family address, type 47 Hillside. It'll come up.
47 Hill.
Side.
That's what I'm doing. It's giving me 0 matches.
Are you looking for something that's active?
No, sold.
Ah, you're just not doing it right.
Okay.
Look at this.
So you have to run it backwards for size. That one sold last year, okay. This one's pretty.
See, I did not know you
A little bit hard.
You didn't find the address. You have to click the thing to select the actual.
Montreal and then.
No, it's the thing next to the address to be able to find the actual street name. You can't just
Yeah, you
type Hill.
can't just type it.
I know it's stupid.
has
Like
to
it
be
should.
Exactly
It
correct.
definitely should
Yeah,
let
I
them
know.
do that.
Yeah.
Hey man, that's why we pay not a lot for our license, right?
I know.
You might be able to go a little bit.
Yeah.
So not to do the southeast side.
Ooh, risky maneuver, boys. Risky maneuver.
Well, but.
Risky maneuver.
I'd rather go west than go north, you know?
Very risky.
Yeah. Okay, so then this one's worth at least 1.3. This one's the best comparable. That is, you just give it like more for the renovations. So, yeah. Yeah. 699 with this one. This one. You definitely have to. Especially if you're under. Well, also you need help in the market. Yeah, exactly. Okay.
You got it? All right. So, for the purposes of saving a little bit of time here, we're going to let John and Severo prove their work. So, let's work backwards. Let's start from the end. So, what is the listing price? If I was going to resell this house, if I was still the owner of this house, what would you recommend as a listing price?
$699.
$699. What's the anticipated sell price?
Probably 740, 730.
740K. Perfect. Why?
Well, this is one that sold right next to yours.
Yep.
End of last year,
Okay.
and it's the exact same size. It's just that the renovations
Just wasn't nice.
weren't as good. And it's sold for $675 in 6 days.
Okay. So you got a 6-month-old comp. 6-month-old. Same size.
Yeah.
No garage? So it's the same house basically.
Basically.
So it's a 25 by 25 cottage. Awesome. Okay. And it sold for what? 675 you said?
Oh, this one's a bit bigger, a little bit bigger this one.
Oh, a little bigger.
Yeah,
Okay.
this one's 27 by 35.
A little bigger. Okay, so it's actually
And it's
a lot
sold for
bigger.
$675.
675K, but unrenovated, right?
It's clean. It's not renovated, but it's clean. Like it's little.
Okay.
I'm actually busy.
Like I wouldn't do anything to it.
Okay.
Maybe in a few years.
Okay. What other comps did you use?
There was another one, but it wasn't really comparable, it sold for $830.
Gee
Like,
whiz.
yeah, like it's fully renovated, but it's a lot bigger, 60 by 34.
Oh, it's not even
So
not even remotely comparable.
Yeah, you can't really compare it. So
No.
that wasn't really the only one that was.
So what's important for the newer people to understand is when we heard that comp, we immediately disregarded it because it was too big. You know, when things are similar and it's only off by a couple hundred square feet, you can make those adjustments, right? So let's say let's have a little bit of fun with a little bit of dollar per square foot thing that we can do here. So if we know that the subject property is 25 by 25, right? Which I believe it is. It could be 28 by 28 or something.
Something like that.
Is it listed?
23.
Okay, so yeah, it's essentially 25, 25, right? So we're talking about 500 square foot per floor, so it's 1,000 square foot house, right? What's the other one?
25 by 35.
Oh no, you're talking about the bigger one.
Yeah, the one that's slightly bigger,
Yeah.
the 6-month-old comp.
Yeah.
25 by 35.
Yeah, 27 by 35.
26. Somebody do math on that for me?
27 times 35, 945.
945. So it's actually an 18. It's almost double the size. It's an 1,800 square foot house. So just for the lulz, let's do the math over this. Let's create the 675, the price per square foot. So take the 675,000 divided by 1,800.
375 per square foot.
375 times that by 1,000. 375,000. You see that's almost too big to make a comparison between them. You know, and you can make a really great argument that the adjustment for renovation should be made before you do the price per square foot, right? Because in order to bring this 675 up to the quality of the one that we renovated, it would probably cost 150 minimum, like minimum 150. So let's slap 150 on that, then divide it by 1,800. I'm sure you'd probably get closer to that 600, 650 that we were talking about.
So it's 800.
825. So take 825.
50 is what you put in?
Divided, what? Yeah, that's a minimum. So 825K divided by 1,800 gives you what?
Gives you 458.
Jesus.
Times.
It's too big to compare. So you
Wow.
see,
You got to factor in more than just the size of the house too, right? There's lot positioning. There's a couple of other factors.
yeah, it's right next to each other, no?
Yeah, this one's 48 hillside.
Oh, shit, it's like literally right across.
The neighbor.
Yeah, it's literally the neighbor. So you can see now that, like, first of all, the 6-month also needs to be adjusted. So then you're adding 6% plus the 150 at least. You know, an argument can be made that that's actually 200 now. 150, I'm thinking like old rental costs.
Yeah.
So this is probably closer to 200. So you can see that where you guys went with where you ended up is pretty darn good. And you could see that actually when we sold it, you could tell that we got a pretty good price for it.
Yeah, we went with 699 because it's just the way the market is. Like, you get more attention on it.
Yeah, 100%. Yep. So I think that's an important delineation to make, because I think Severo says, okay, we went with this because we know that's the way the market goes. We're going to get over the asking price. But if I'm a seller, I might not accept just that one sentence, right? I might just not accept Severo telling me everything's going to be okay. I might need a little bit more factual reassurance. You know what I mean? So being able to express that, but with comparables and facts is what's really going to be important. So what
This
is?
one was listed for 599.
Oh, it was.
Yeah, and it's sold for 675.
Perfect. So that's your case in point right there. You can show that to the potential seller of this hypothetical hillside sale and say, listen, these people listed here and they got 75K over the asking price, and they're not well renovated like you are. So, of course, there's other things too. You know, the seller's declaration of comparables plays really hard. You know, we made the assumption here that both these seller's declarations are the same. That may not be the case. You know what I mean? That one at the 48 Hillside might have been leaking like a sieve in the basement, which wouldn't surprise me given what we went through with 47. So,
What about, what about like a property that's sold with no legal warranty?
Mhm.
Like what would be the adjustment for that?
it's tough to say in this market. There used to be a very tangible amount that you could adjust for somebody who wanted to just sell it like this. The important thing is that somebody who's able to sell with a warranty cannot just arbitrarily say I'm selling without legal warranty. That's not allowed. There's no judge in the world that will allow that. So for instance, let's say Karen and I wanted to sell our place on Glasgow. We can't just sell it with no legal warranty because we know we got Uncle Joe and Aunt Jane to do half the renovations. We can't just do that because it's trying to absolve yourself from the law. Which
But for my triplex, it's fine. She's an older woman.
exactly.
Okay.
So that's a legitimate grounds to be like, listen, man, like I don't know how much longer I'm going to live. I'm selling without legal warranty. That makes perfect sense. So, exactly. And then like so it would go on to the person before, you know. Yeah, exactly. But yeah,
it's her parents. They're fast.
when it was more of a buyer's market, you could see like it was, and at the time, you know, average sale price was closer to 300. You could see it between $5,000 and $10,000 discrepancy. Now you almost see zero. Yeah, but it's really important to be able to tell your clients like, hey, they can't just sell without legal warranty and just get completely absolved of all responsibility. Like that's not how that works. Exactly. Like you know, they've plastered all the water damage because they sell it in a dry, but no, they can't do that. 100% can't do that. If they knew about something and they actively didn't disclose it, not selling without legal warranty does not protect them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now we're gonna do. Actually, I should ask you some questions about this first. So with the example we just went through, what were the major things that you guys felt played into the value of the property? Location for sure, absolutely. And it was a difficult location to do a CMA in because there's not a lot of comps in the area. You were lucky to find that 6-month-old comp.
Point Claire South and Beaconsfield South also have an interesting dividing line closer to the highway and further away from the highway. So there is something to be said about location in that regard too. It's like location and location and location.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
There's usually like a street crossing it that you can see. Like,
yes, absolutely.
The movie is like on the other side of the road.
So this is exactly what we learned as well. Because just because we were Point Claire South doesn't mean we were south of Lakeview, right? So it's these types of things that if you really know the area and you live and breathe that area, you're going to be able to provide a little bit of better value to the people that want to list with you, because you'll know something like that. You know, because that's just something we didn't know. We were like, it's Point Claire South, it's sweet, I'm picking it up for a song, we're going to sell it. Ended up taking a very expensive bath on that property. But it's because we didn't know that there was another dividing line. We thought the dividing line was the 20. Anything south of the 20, money, free money. No. Because we were kind of close to the highway and we weren't south of Lakeview. Yeah. We weren't in walking distance from the water or anything like that. All the things that come along with, ooh, it's south, Point Claire South, Beaconsfield, all those big doorbell stuff, all this stuff. Exactly. We were like borderline. Exactly. So it wasn't as powerful as we thought it was. It was almost comparable to like some of the 25 by 25s in Valois. It was more comparable to those than it was for some of the stuff in the south side. So yeah, like micro locations, super, super important. What else? What else played with this property heavily?
Size.
Yeah, it's small for sure. Absolutely, that played. You guys mentioned it too. No garage.
It's fucking nice though.
It's a nice property, sure, but it's like, you know, we over renovated for the size and location of that property. Had we known that it was more comparable to the places in Valois, we probably wouldn't have renovated it that hard. You know, but we just didn't know. We just didn't. Well, couldn't have lipstick that place. No, dude, it was so bad when we bought it. Bruce found it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, I bought that vanity.
There you go.
That's the Elliot.
There you go. Yeah, no garage, that place. I think they said that they found something for like 800 and something thousand that it had a garage. And it was bigger. So it's like both things played, you know, so you had to adjust for that, adjust for the garage, all that kind of stuff. Ideally, and most times, you're not gonna have a CMA that is this difficult. Most of the time it's, you know, you go to, especially if you're working a little bit further west, you're going into the Montérégie West area, there's a million of every single house you're doing a CMA on. And it's not that, they're all built the same. It's not that hard. If I were to give you another property, you know, you want to just stick to houses and do condos another time? Or do you want to do condos?
Let's take the house. I gotta
Sweet.
figure out how to work this.
Yeah, okay. So, we need one that was listed. Okay, I got one for you. 96 Argyle in Kirkland. Now, you're not going to find a listing for this. You might find an old listing for rent. But you have to imagine that it is renovated top to bottom. The same thing that you saw in Hillside, arguably actually maybe even a little bit better, is done at Argyle.
Did you flip this too?
It belongs to my father.
Oh.
Yeah, so that's going to be listed this coming week, I think.
That's beside where my uncle lives. He lives on Chambertin.
Oh yeah, it's right there. Yeah. So 96
These
Argyle.
are like $1 million houses.
This week between Salisbury and St. Charles.
I still can't find it. I did exactly what you did.
1 year?
I go Montreal. I go
Yes.
I go 36.
Sound like broker.
There you go. Because there's too many.
I should have a picture with my new car and a
They
picture.
are. Oh, this was the one you were doing. Okay.
Hey guys, gotta get the information because of the property. Like this baby, like, I'm too busy to take this picture. What's that?
1997, yeah.
42 by 28, 230. There's no pictures.
What
you go?
is
We need to know the model.
Oh, yeah,
Go on Google.
It's not even here.
There's an old sale from like,
Oh, because I'm doing active. Okay,
yeah.
yeah. Got it.
This will give you an idea of
Not this
Honestly, it's a deal.
Oh, yeah.
Not yet.
But this was the real estate game was different then. He would just partner with guys
Yeah. So
and then buy them out like three years later. Can't do that anymore.
Yeah.
You protected my life.
Really
Or harassing.
Why, I don't want to sit there and think about it.
So someone can rescue me.
But then he goes to jail.
No, he's not.
Come on, man.
It's not gonna go to jail. It's just gonna be like any scenario that somebody has to come and rescue me. No,
Yes, you can just like follow my page and act like a problem. Anybody can.
like what? Having a heart attack?
Like you're laying this
So
going
like literally.
People that keep pulling my legs.
Just detach your thing from your antifreeze and we'll come put it back.
So now inside a matrix, guys, what you should be doing, because Kirkland's pretty easily divided. Inside a matrix, once you understand the subject property, you go into search, you go general. Okay? We'll select Kirkland, go into the map, draw the polygon, find out where 96 Argyle is, find out that subsection that John was talking about. Find that subsection.
Is there a reason why you're saying it's a polygon that I've seen you do it before, but as opposed to just doing it around a radius?
Can't do a radius because I want to be able to find those dividing streets, and I don't want the circle to break that line.
975.
So the best thing to do, easy as shit. Jump to address, 96 Argyle.
Or 42 by 20. Oh, 37.
There it is. Back it up.
Hey.
Kind of see what it moves here. It's in that late green area.
So it's a better.
So,
It's a better
you want to walk this Somerset? Maybe. Maybe. No. So when you drive through all these frequent people, I'm right here. Top to bottom, top to bottom.
Wouldn't that be like too big?
Maybe. So you can filter it down. So then, you want to do 2 or more story, detached.
Still, I don't know what to Yes.
No.
No what?
To whatever you
I didn't say
Okay, to whatever you're thinking, it's a big fat no. Whatever you're gonna think next.
We're learning. We're learning.
Absolutely.
You just
Well, I
talk
know
so
it's
much.
I'm gonna complain that I'm
See?
stupid.
See?
So
Is
you
that the
don't
house that
know?
has the round, the stairs?
What were you
I think I even
Yeah,
know.
so you're
Don't
not-
know.
I do know.
No, no,
That's exactly what you're gonna say. Oh, don't say no.
Best thing is to make it a little bit bigger than it is.
Sorry, I won't know.
So you didn't select one. So
Yeah.
you're just getting like everything.
Oh, people call you, see, like,
Well,
no. I'm
gonna make sure you know.
Joseph Montanaro. And no,
I really divide one is 100%. Criteria. More story. One plus. There's a garage on the property. And then let's see.
So the
In the last
It's due to
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah. This sold.
Yeah. Matches.
Yeah.
Choose one top. And then if you can't find enough comps, so Madison and Connor, if you can't find enough comps because you only have 10, and let's say some of them are rentals and some of them are too big or too small or whatever, go back a little further. I only went back 5 months. You can go back maybe a couple months more, but you're gonna have to adjust for time that you do that.
A lot of those homes have 2 garages.
Yeah. But does it really go up that much in like a year?
Now it does. If I was doing CMA 3 years ago, no, I'd be like, yeah, it's here, but it's fine. But, now it's shit's insane.
But it's
1 year is like the equivalent of almost 10 to 12% now.
Or
It's nuts. Absolutely nuts.
Question?
Yeah.
There's double, that style of home has a lot of double garages.
Yep.
How do you calculate
Well,
You try and find single garages that are sold.
There's so many of those that are, some do have, some
but
don't.
Yep. So if you're finding both sales,
okay.
you just see what the value of that extra garage is. The rule of thumb for me is a garage is worth a single garage, just one garage is worth anywhere between 30 and 50. The second garage of something between a single and a double garage is worth between 20 and 40. That's the easy math for me.
What about the big, the space and a half, like it's room for 2, but you kind of have to,
Oh, I don't know. I would just call that a single.
it really is a double. Because
I hope so.
you can tandem that inside the garage.
Yeah. Well, the other value too is if you have a double garage, can you build that over?
It's fine.
So potential price of that as well. Couple minutes left, guys. Couple minutes.
But don't you know?
Why are they literally all $1 million property?
Because it's a really nice neighborhood. They are $1 million properties. And because that's 2013, baby. That expired in 2013.
Oh yeah. You're not looking at
No.
so remember, the house doesn't look like that anymore. It's 100% renovated. Yeah. So the new people, I'd like you guys to open up a notes application on your laptop and write down the answer, because I don't want I don't want the experienced agents to influence your answers. So I want to know what if I was a client of yours, what you would suggest I list at and what you would think it's going to sell for.
So how do I get back to the initial property to look at it without losing my search?
Open a new tab. Right click anywhere, open a new tab.
I mean, can you compare ones that are monthly, that are rented?
Not really.
Okay, because
Just like
sucks
your
because it
spit back.
seems kind of similar, but like,
Can't do that.
Dirty boy.
I'm trying to do this.
Ooh.
Heard you tried to hard sell my kid.
Yeah, good stuff. Awesome. I'm very, very interested to see what you guys are saying, because we've already done this, my father and I, so I'm very interested to see what you guys think. So, yeah, a couple more, not even, 1 more minute. Great watches with John against his father. Guy's an astronaut now. It's listing this week.
Oh. Let's see. Makes more sense.
yeah, well. Yeah. I don't know, there's not enough.
But at this price point, I mean, this one, you cannot like underlist and expect to get more, really?
Yeah. Well, I think.
Because you're not gonna have multiple offers over $1 million. You will? Oh? Oh, okay. Okay.
$7.99. Final offer. $9.70. Like all over the place. I love it. All right, that's time. So write down what your gut instinct is. If you haven't finished it, just write down what your gut instinct is, what you would suggest the listing price is, and what the sale price is. I want to see it written down. It has to be legit. Write it down. We're going to start with Susie, but I want these guys to write it down. I want to know that it's written down somewhere.
Oh, I have no clue.
Hold on.
It's good. Sometimes a hunch is good, and that's what we're doing, man. We're just trying to build up that that hunch muscle that you guys have.
What's the best, your description of fully renovated? Like,
Oh, it's fully renovated. It's top-notch everything all over the place.
kitchen, floors,
Kitchen, floors,
backyard,
bathroom,
landscaping, all that.
landscaping's good.
So we're doing landscaping, or you did landscaping?
We didn't replace the pool. The pool's there. Landscape's been done. Gardens have been finished. New garage. Everything in the property. New windows. Roof is great.
We're good.
Brand new electric furnace. Brand new heat pump. Everything. Okay, so now I want to hear yours first because you were next to Benji, so I feel like yours is going to be better.
Well, no, yeah, I didn't even look at the shit.
Ooh,
I did it on my own.
Okay, so what are you thinking?
Okay, so I went based off 35 acres, which
So-
is just on the other side of Salaberry.
Ooh, it's off. It's beyond Salaberry.
Yeah, it's on the other side, but it's still
Okay.
close.
Okay.
I went for, so it was sold at 845. They had listed at 900, not 845.
Oh, interesting.
And this was in June of last year.
Ooh, interesting.
So
And it's the same size house?
I think so. Yes, it has a garage and that's a 2-story. I didn't check the bedrooms actually, I'm not gonna lie, sorry.
If you're trying to do a quick CMA and you don't have time to, let's say, go into the city's registrar's office and check the square footage, or JLR and check the square footage, the rule of thumb is how big is the master bedroom, how big is the kitchen, how big is the living room and family room. You can check that very quickly by just scrolling on Matrix and seeing, and that's usually an indication of the size of the property. But never mind any of that. So
what does that mean? Comparing it to another property?
Correct.
Okay.
yeah, like because the smaller houses,
Okay.
when they don't have a lot of square foot, the master bedroom's not going to be bigger than like 12 by 12. You know, but if it's a big ass house and they've got room to breathe, that master bedroom's going to have some room to breathe.
Big is like 16 by
So,
14
and-
or something like that?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, absolutely. And keep in mind, Argyle does have an all-suite. I don't know if you guys keyed that in, but we'll talk about that in a second. So, Susie, go ahead.
So I would list it at 849.9, and I would assume that it would sell for 895.7. That was plus 6%.
And sorry, 849 is the listing price. It's going to sell for
At 895.
900. Perfect. Awesome. Very great. Okay, what was your hunch? Show me. Show me what you wrote down.
I didn't even write really anything
Oh,
down.
Jesse,
Like
right
I
on
wrote
the
here
tab.
down, but I said $799.
And sold for
then
$850.
sold for $850. I mean, it is very like there's 800 square feet difference in the lot size, so that's pretty big. I find to be able to compare. So that's why this one was listed at $1 million. So I kind of like took quite a bit down. But you said it was fully renovated, so I went with that.
Yep.
It has one garage, so it's kind of similar in that way. It's landscaped, everything's done. So I mean, besides the size of it,
Yep.
that's really about
So
it.
you
This one was
adjusted down
sold-
from a higher comp.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
and it was sold in December 29th.
I'm gonna rethink my answer just because.
How would you write down?
Okay.
You had the same thing. You had the same thing.
Very
You
confident.
had the same thing.
You're very confident about it.
I'm not confident, but I act confident, but I'm not.
That's okay, that's how you have to be.
Awesome. Okay, Benji.
950.
For what? For which one? Listing or selling price?
Oh, listen, we're selling 950 with mine.
Both?
Yeah.
Okay, so 950, 950.
Yeah.
950, you're gonna get full asking. 950. Awesome. Very cool. Interesting strategy.
Sour Interesting strategy.
Awesome.
Go bigger.
Okay. John and Severa, talk to us.
We were probably gonna list it at $899 and get $950.
Just copy me.
Yeah, it's right here.
Oh,
You see when you copied my outfit this morning. Don't trust Trump.
it's true. I saw your social media.
Okay, so how did you guys come to that? Because I see you guys with the notes, so we're gonna attack you guys a little bit on this one. So talk to us. How did you come to that?
Well, when there was a property, it sold last year in September.
Okay.
It's a bit bigger, but the renovations on the first floor is nice, but the second floor, it needs work. It still
Okay.
has the parquetry. And the
Yikes.
basement needs a lot.
Wow. Okay, so you were adjusting for what? You were adjusting for renovations?
Yeah,
What else?
and,
Renovations,
The
time,
time.
and a little bit the size, right?
yeah, and this sold for $865,
Holy shit.
and it was listed at $886.
Oh,
It was listed
interesting.
at 905 first.
So they're selling down, you see?
Yeah.
I think after a price point.
But I'm sure there's gonna be comps that are selling over though.
Yeah, we put the listing at $899 because this one was at 905, and then they put it down to 886 and settled at 865.
But that's like, dude, this classic overpricing, guys.
Yeah, so we don't want
If you overprice, it gets burned and then people think what's wrong with it. That's terrible.
One other thing to note was we actually went into the assessment rolls to pull the aile d'étage to
Yup.
compare sizes correctly.
Smart.
The previous listing from 1997, the size did not add up because I know the model. So based on the model of the home,
Which listing are we talking about? We're talking about Argyle?
Yeah. So based on that, that's a Grilly Olympic, right?
Yeah, it's one of. Yeah, it's a Grilly Olympic.
Yeah,
That's
it's
right.
not the deluxe.
Nope.
No. So then we were seeing some deluxes, but then I was looking at the other ones and I was like, this isn't the.
I don't think it's the
size.
deluxe.
The deluxe one's self-report.
The deluxe has that
Yeah.
window next to the garage.
Yeah, no chance.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not the deluxe.
So based on that, the size on the old listing didn't make sense. So I went into the assessment roll to find the aile d'étage, and that's where we found out that the size wasn't as far off for Granada as we thought.
Mm-hmm.
Initially, I was like, ooh, not the right size.
Yep. Absolutely.
That's not fair, they have more tools.
Why?
Hey, everyone has that tool, bud.
How do I get that?
So, may I borrow your computer, please?
They have more too.
So what I'm gonna do for you guys right now is I'm gonna do. I'm gonna connect to the TV here. Show me potato salad.
Just that, yes.
Come on now.
You just said potatoes out.
Oh, that's the worst. On a Pfizer, bro. Okay, so let's see. Can everyone see this? Yeah, perfect. Increase the size a little bit so we can all see it. Boom. There we go. Okay, so here's how I would have done this, and by no means is this an exact science, but I mean it's just to show you guys how I would double check or verify any of your guys' assumptions or math or whatever, right? So the first thing I do, I already know what the property, so I don't need to check the subject property. Okay, let's just assume I have it on another window and I'm good. So we go search, single family, general, Montreal, Kirkland, map, 96, Argyle, Kirkland, boom, gives me the location of where it is. And now I'm starting to see, okay, where is the place, okay? This is great because it's near the park. So you're gonna get bonus points for it being near the park, which is sweet, okay? So, but it looks like it can go all the way up to around here. But there's a cutoff, of course, for where pure forms, but the system's gonna do that for me anyways. So basically Somerset is a cutoff point. So I'm gonna go draw polygon, boom, Somerset, down here, wrap around, boom, boom, boom. And then over here, yeah, exactly. And come up to Oakwood. And of course it's not gonna let us back it up. System. I mean, I love the system. Our money is well spent. And then what we do is 2 or more story, detached, at least 1 garage. We want to see the ones with 2 garages just in case someone maybe added 1 or something like that. And then we're going to go sold. And I'm going to go back, 5 or 6 months. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh shit! I should have done that. 1, 2, 3. Boom. Results. Not a lot of comps, guys. Really not a lot of comps. So look at this one, not comparable really. This one, yeah, that's a little bit comparable. And then what I would do is I would cross-reference based on, I'll go to centrist here. Please tell me it auto-populates. Thank God. Fingerprint me, girls. Good answer. Yeah, we might have had to do that, bud. Cool. So for where's Connor? Connor, check this out, man. So in resources, assessment roles. Oopsies, that's not it. Here we go. Assessment roles. Go all the way down to Montreal. That's how you find the assessment roles to figure out square footage. Okay. Continue. Address 96. Argyle. It'll auto-populate in a second. Boom. Argyle, Kirkland. I'm not a robot. I promise. Trap place.
I hate that crap.
I hate it. I haven't seen this in a long time.
So, layer detach 192. So now I have an idea for the size. Now, if we had a little bit more time, I would go into detail of what that is, but we know that actually it's bigger than this one. This one here is only 1,500 square feet. Let's see what this looks like on the inside.
It's not that nice.
It's okay. It's got a certain charm to it, but it is significantly smaller. I can tell right away it's significantly smaller.
Yeah.
So the way Argyle is laid out, if you remember the subject property, there's a garage. There's actually an entire family room behind the garage in Argyle. So this is missing that. So this would just be the garage here. Whereas in Argyle, it's all it's bigger and not a shitty old kitchen either. No offense to the owners of this property.
Look at that wallpaper. Your kitchen is sitting in all
Yeah. So yeah, this it's significantly better than this as a comp. Granada, this looks like a wonderful comp.
This was
Yeah.
This is essentially. I'm gonna just take a quick look. It looks like it's about the same house, to be honest.
Yeah, they have that little room in the back.
That's nice.
Yeah, they have the exact same little room in the back.
It's right across the street from the park as well.
Those colors, just painted.
Oh, that's the one you guys were looking at.
Yeah.
This is far and away the best comp. The bathrooms are crap. The basement's crap. The really rough. Good God, it's rough. Curb appeal is great. Curb appeal is wonderful. So this is a good comp, but Argyle smashes this one. Like smashes it. And it sold a while ago, so you have to adjust for time. And now we're starting to get crazy.
Yeah, that's.
So we know where the cutoff is, right? If we could, in theory, go back to criteria and pull back more time and adjust further for time, like we had like a year ago. But for purposes of keeping this training nice and short, we're not going to do that. We're going to use Granada as the main comp. So how much, the rule of thumb is, what would I have to do to Granada to make it Argyle? A lot. So we're talking about, what, 2 bathrooms? We're talking about the entire flooring, the upstairs, an entire kitchen. So like the perceived value of a kitchen is anywhere between 20 and 30,000. The perceived value of a bathroom is about 15,000. You know, it doesn't matter that that's not actually what it costs. It's the perceived value that matters, right? So you're talking about 2 bathrooms, you're talking about 30K. Call it another 30 for a kitchen because we are talking about Kirkland in a higher end price point. We're not talking about a basic $300,000 bungalow out in Nowheresville. So, you know, we're talking about 60,000. We haven't even broken a sweat yet. You know what I mean? We haven't even talked about, you know, whether these windows are any good, what the age of the furnace is, all of that stuff that also plays, right? And yeah, so in terms of, yeah, it's going to be it's the same. It's the same size house.
950.
So,
200 square feet.
yeah, I don't even know if that's true. It looks like identical, same house, to be honest. Of like everything about the dimensions I'm seeing is the same.
Yeah.
So yeah, to me, this sounds like an $899 listing price, sell for $950. I don't see it climbing near the million, but I've seen some crazy shit happen recently. So who knows?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's basically how you do a very quick comparative market analysis. You know, so when somebody says, hey, can you give me an evaluation on my house? You know, if somebody's not super ready to sell right away, you don't have to spend 3-4 hours doing this massive evaluation because they're not ready to do anything right now anyways. So if this is like, hey, this is a preliminary step. This is the range. You can sell from here to here. It's a pretty big range, we know, but when you're really ready to get going, we're gonna get down to the nitty gritty and isolate exactly what this thing's worth and isolate every little thing that we can compare against other properties that have sold in your area. And that's it. That's all we got. Hope we had fun. Thanks everybody for coming. Woo!